Hello and welcome back. Hand is still on the mend, so we're going to do a little setup today on my Jaymz Type TL Telecaster type guitar. I've always wanted to do a little more lead playing. I've always been a rhythm guitarist and not a very good one at that. But that all aside, I never had a Telecaster all these years, and I wanted one. And every time I went looking for one, it was too expensive, and I wanted to get one that was cheap that I could work on as well. So everything was already in pristine shape and way too much money, and even the ones that were in rough shape were top quality ones that were way too much money. So for less than $200, this got delivered to my doorstep in like 2 days, I think, something like that, and we put it together. So I'm gonna get it set up. It's been sitting behind the chair in the corner for quite a while now, but it's time to have it looked at. I've already gone over the measure box to check the string height, and we are at 1.5, 1.25, 1.25, 1.5, 1.25, 1.25. That's way too low. I'm wanting to probably set it about 1.75 all the way across, and then we'll play it for a while, see if that works. If not, maybe adjust it either way. But I've already looked down the neck. It's fairly straight. There's a little bit of a bow to it, but instead of messing with the truss rod right now, I think what we're going to do is adjust the saddle. And for that, we will be using our 6-sided L-shaped adjustment tool, not a paid promotion. And that's where we're going to go. Might have to do a little cleanup on the neck here. It's looking a little strange, but the neck might not be completely finished yet. I'm still in flux with that at this point. But that's where we're going to go today. Go do a complete setup. String height, double check the pickups, see their height, go for the intonation, and so off to the bench. So as usual, the first thing we're going to do is loosen off the strings, because we're going to be tightening the lugs in the bridge. They're going up, it's going to create more pressure on the strings. If we were lowering them, then it's going to take some pressure off the strings. It's still not good to go against the pressure that's on the lugs, but we're going to lower the strings. Anytime we're doing any sort of a setup, we want to always keep on using the old strings. We're probably going to leave these strings on it anyways, but even if you're changing the strings, do the setup on the old strings, because you're going to be loosening and tightening probably a couple times. You don't want to take a chance at breaking one of the new strings. So always do it on the old strings, and then always loosen the skinny strings first. So we're going to take all the pressure off the strings, and then we will raise the barrel saddle. The barrel saddles are the 3 barrels type, the vintage type of bridge for Telecasters. And seeing that we're going to want to raise this one about 1/4 of a millimeter, and then 1/2 and 1/2, 1/4, 1/2 and 1/2, we are only going to raise or turn this here lug about 1/2 a turn, and then a full turn, a full turn, half a turn, a full turn, and a full turn. Now we're going to bring the strings back up to just rough tune. You don't have to get this right into perfect tune, get it close, because we might have to loosen it off again. There's no use in us going through 15 minutes getting it back into perfect tune. So let's tighten up the strings and check it out then. So we went over it, and as it turned out, we got it back up into rough tune, checked them again, and as it turned out, the ones that needed a half a turn needed a 3/4 of a turn, and the ones that needed a full turn needed 1 1/4 turns. So I didn't bother bringing you back for that part. I just readjusted them, and now we are completely at 1.75 all the way across. We got that part done. That setup part is done now. So the next thing we're going to do is go over and check the height of the pickups. And for the pickup height, what you want is the bridge one to be at about 2.4 millimeters from the top of the string after you fret at the end. At this point, you still want 2.4 millimeters here, and the neck 2.0. So we're just going to go over and do that. But the problem is the adjustment for the back of this one is right underneath the string. So we're going to have to measure it first, and then if we have to do an adjustment, loosen the string, do the adjustment, bring it back to rough tune, and measure again. So let's start. Okay, so now in millimeters, I'm going to have to get down to the height where I can see what's going on. Pushing down at the end, and we are a little bit high. I can see the 2.5, that's about 2.6. And on this side, pretty much the same, 2.6. So we're going to raise that up a little bit. This one will be a little tougher to do because the neck is in the way, but it's a little bit too close. But as well, there's a chrome cover on this here pickup. The actual pickup is below that, so I think we're probably going to leave that one where it is. But we do want to raise this about a 1/2 mil. So we will now remove the pressure on the strings and do the adjustment. So we almost got it right, but what we can do is just bend the string out of the way. And check it again. Fretting at the last. That's about 2.5. Let's go a little bit more up to create hopefully a 2.4. It looks pretty good there. We're going to give this just a little more tweak up. Ooh, maybe too much. Nope, that's good. So now our pickups are set. Next thing we're going to do is check the intonation. I think we should maybe remove the strings and clean it up first though. So let's do that. So we've loosened the strings off so that they will expose the fretboard. What we're going to do is the rope trick. Pull these three strings aside, put the rope up through, same thing over here, and then just half knot behind the back, and that will keep the strings away from the fretboard while we do the cleanup. Simple enough, away we go. So this being a maple neck, we don't have to really oil it. We're just going to clean it. So I've got my guitar cleaner, not a paid promotion. And we're just going to go over all the frets and clean them up. As I say, this fretboard might not be completely finished yet. I put a coat of boiled linseed oil, which I tried to sand off, and then I've gone over it a few times with a satin polyurethane. And I like the look of it, but I'm not so sure that the neck is finished. I can see dirt way up at the top here, but we're going to clean it up and see how it dries up before we put the strings back on. Well, replace the strings back on the grooves and tighten up. Shouldn't be using my bad hand for that. Okay, a little more juice and we'll go out a little deeper. So we've cleaned it up about as well as it is going to take for now. There's still, I'm seeing some marks on the fretboard area that we might eventually resand it and refinish it, but that can all happen down the road. It's more than adequate for what we're going to be doing. So the next thing we're going to do though is, while we have the frets all arranged and exposed, is go over and check to see if they're all level. And by that, all we're doing is taking the flat edge, going over 3 frets and rocking. We've got a little bit there. This one can come down a bit, so we may as well get out the file and do this while we have access at the moment. So all we do is to take our flat edge, go over 3 frets. I don't know that you'll be able to hear that, but there's a little bit of a rock, and that means this one is a little bit high, but only at this far end of the fret. So we're going to give it about maybe 3 swipes, and there's just very little more. Just do a couple of swipes at a time, remembering that the frets are curved this way, so you don't want to go right across all of them. If you find you have to do the complete fret, remember to roll with the fret. There. Now we're just going to keep on going. This one just a little this side of center, and not much. Do a couple of swipes, clean it off, check again, it's flat. Now once you get up so far, the flat edge won't reach across all 3 frets. At that point, you will use use the wide part this way. Just a couple of swipes and try it again till it stops. These ones won't take much because, well, it's a brand new neck. And the quality was fairly good on this one. You know, considering it was a $150, 170, I guess, 169 Canadian plus tax. If you get them, if you watch, you can maybe get them on sale, but left-handed ones hardly ever come up on sale. So there you can just hear a little bit of the rock. Voila. Now I usually check both sides in the middle. You can get more into it than that if you really want to, but and you probably should be careful. I'm just being careful not to hit the fretboard. You can tape it off if you have to. Voila, that is done. Handy item. I think it was about maybe $25–30, but not a paid promotion. But it's a handy thing. I've used it on all of my guitars pretty much now. Okay, so, oh, drink. So where will we go next? Back to replacing all the strings back onto the guitar, and then we will check the intonation. So now we've got it all back together. I haven't tuned it yet, just got in another rough tune because of course we still don't know if we're gonna have to loosen and re-go at anything. But then after I got it back together, I went over every note and made sure that we got no buzzing anywhere. Made sure that we have no buzzing anywhere, and we don't. Right up into there. I won't be playing much above that, so voila. We are now set up. Now it is time to basically bring it up into perfect tune and start playing. No, first we have to intonate. So we get the string in tune to where we want it. I do a D because all of mine are down tuned D at the 12th, D. G at the 12th, G. See, we've already intonated this not long ago, so it should still be good. A little flat. Close enough, because when you have the Telecaster, you have a 3-barrel setup. 2 strings are on each barrel, so they are really hard to intonate. Sometimes it's a give and take. If you can just get it close. Am I doing the right string? At the 12th, a little flat. Close enough. So if you go flat, you want to move the barrel towards the headstock. So what we want to do is take that barrel and move it towards the headstock. But the issue is that the one right beside it wasn't wanting any movement. Let's double check it. So it wants to be there. Close enough. We can look at it and see if there's anything we can do to just twist it even. But it's a Telecaster. It's going to give you a very primitive type sound to it, and you're playing, and so I think we will just leave it at that. Close enough. So there we have it, the complete setup. And so with that, I think we'll leave it there this week. As I say, I'm going to start with therapy, trying to do a little more lead, or start any lead. I've never really been a lead guitarist, as I say. So I just want to get some blues background tracks and just mess with it and just see where it goes. But so there we got pretty much the total setup here today. What did we do? We didn't bother with the truss rod. We might have to. We're going to have a look at that. But so we did the string height, pickup height, double check the intonation a little bit, and a slight cleanup. Thanks for watching. Please share, like, subscribe, leave a comment below. Tell me what I did right, did wrong. I'm not a luthier, just an old guy with too much time on my hands. So with that, we'll catch you next time. Next time we might also... Last week we went and did a gear day where I went through 10 remaining guitars that I have here. I think what I might do is a little more in-depth investigation into each of them and give you a little more of a full rundown on the guitar, possibly a bit of the background of the company that made it, and so on. But we'll see how that goes. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time. Bye now.